So in this third part, we are going to now deal with creating articles, removing basically the CRUD operations on a blog post. So in the last video we handled the authentication, okay, using a Redux toolkit query, and now we'll just continue from that point. But in this case, we are going to integrate the pages, okay, to create articles and remove them and edit them. So we were in this backend, okay, and where we had to build a blog post model, and now we can handle the routes. So in my routes here, I'll create post routes.js, and this is going to be where we'll have const router equals we requires from express, and we say express dot router, and we say const, okay, blog post equals we require from our models, and say blog post, and we need to have here require. So we require from our auth, right? We say middleware auth, and we can have here not just this auth, okay. And now let's handle the first route, which is creating a post. You can just say router dot post, okay. If you post to the slash, we will make sure first that we have the auth. So let's just call it auth user. So auth user first before handling it to now the async, okay, with the request and the response. All right, and now what are we going to do here? So we will grab first the title, the content, and the image coming from request.body, okay, and we try catch something. So we'll say here const article equals, so we await, right, the creation of our blog post. So we create with the title, content, image, right, and we say now the creator is request that user underscore id, that underscore id. So this request that user underscore id will be provided by our auth user. Right, so that's what we need, and the next is to send back the response. So here we can say request that user that articles, right, push article that underscore id. So we push it to the user's article, and we say res.json, so article. Otherwise, so we'll say res.status for 100, and we can send. So that's what we need to do here. All right, so we can just say JSON actually is e.message. Okay, so from that point we can go back to our front-end app, and we'll just here create a new page. So we have already that page actually, so we can just look at new article page here. So for the new article, we need to have two parts, right, to create our article. And on the left side we'll have the form, and on the right side we'll just have an image. So we'll have here to import from React Bootstrap, and we need to import the container, okay, because we'll have a container here. And we'll have right a row. Okay, and this row will have two columns, so the left side and the right side. And on the left side, this is where we'll have of our form. So we need to have here md equals 7, and as well here you can have md equals 5 for medium size and above. So within this this left side column we can have our form. Okay, so it's going to be like this. We need a form and an h1 that's going to say new article. Okay, and we are going to say here, so below it we need to have a form group. You can just actually go here, look for React Bootstrap. Look at the components and just grab a form here, so it's easier. You can have it this like this, and of course add row, column, the form and the button. Okay, so we have now the container with row, column, form and button. And what do we need here? We don't need email address. We can just say title. We don't need that. And the type is going to be a text. Placeholder here, so your title, and we can have here remove this control ID. Okay, so we don't need the password, we can remove it. Let's remove as well this. We need to have a select. I'll say form dot select, and below here inside this form dot select we'll have option. So select category, and let's just paste it below. So we'll have here fonts, right, with value equals fonts, another one. Let's copy it. So say blockchain, computers. Okay, so have here computers, and a last one for others, say others. Okay, so now we have the select category here, and below the form dot select, so we have some logic here, but let's first focus on the editor, so the text editor. So for the text editor we need to import a bunch of stuff here. So the first thing is, let's look at draft.js here. Draft.js. Okay, this is what we are going to use, so let's install this. Just draft.js, npm install draft.js. Okay, we need as well to have draft.js YC. So draft.js YC, I think it's Y. What you see is what you get. Draft.js YC. So this is what we'll need. Again, let's just look at the GitHub page. Documentation. Right, so this is the installation. We need as well draft.js to HTML. So npm I draft dash js, no, draft.js to HTML. Okay, so let's go back to here. We should have, so let's see. Okay, so no need to. We can import now the components. So the first one is import from draft.js, and we need to have here editor state, so convert to row from draft.js. The next thing is we can import now the editor from draft.js WYSIWYG. So draft.js WYSIWYG. So WYSIWYG means just what you see is what you get. Okay. So the next is to import draft. So draft.js to HTML. Okay. And now we need to have here import draft WYSIWYG. We need to grab the CSS, so draft dist, and we can say .css. Okay, so the CSS, and yeah, so now let's look at the editor here. So for the editor, we need to have here in our state, it's actually going to be the largest component. So we need to have what do we need to have here? We need to have const editor state set editor state. So it's going to equal use state, because we need to use the state, and it's going to return editor state that create empty. So an empty editor state when we get started. Okay, so this is the state for our editor, and now we can render it below this form group. So editor below here, this editor is going to take some properties. So the first is, we can say here strip paste styles. We can say true. Okay, so that when you paste the styles, it's going to strip all the default styles and just leave it leave the text, the white text. So editor state editor state is going to be the editor state from our state, right? So editor, this editor state, okay, it doesn't highlight it. Yeah, it's working now. Now after this, we need to have on editor state change, which means when we are changing, when we write down something to change it, okay, we need to have a function that's called, so handle editor change, and we can have the function here, define it here. So function handle editor change. From now we can leave it blank. Okay, and yeah, so we can, it's fine now. Let's see what you have. If we go to our React app, so new article, so we have, right, our title here, the text editor here, and we have our category. Now we need to deal with was updating the state, okay, which is the on editor state change. which is this function. So this function here needs to grab the logic. So it takes the state, you can say state, and what we do, we say set editor state, the new state. Okay, and let's see, should have now something, and now we can edit, right? Let's say we can make this, change the font, change the size, okay, make it H1, H2, or anything you want. Actually, remove the bold, okay, italic. So this is going to be like a text editor, okay, where you can even put images by just having this image upload. So this, but you will need to provide a URL for your image. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to once we want to publish this, so we want to make this text, convert it into an HTML before sending it to our database. So for that, so let's have here handle publish function. We want to publish the article. So what do we do here? The handle publish, we need to take, so const row, okay, content state equals, so convert to row first, editor state that get current content. So I'll show you why we need to do this. And const content equals draft to HTML, and we make it an HTML by saying row content state. So right now, if I try to say console log row content state, you will see it's not actually just a normal text. So let's say here form on submit equals handle publish. Yeah, so if you try to publish this, submit, actually you need to prevent the default, so should take e that prevent default. Let's see now if I try to submit, and let's look at the inspector. It's like an object, right, with blocks, and you have the key, the text. So this is like it's blocks, right? So the content state, so we need to convert it to a plain HTML. That's why we have this draft to HTML. Now let's look at the console log content. So if you try to submit, you see now, okay, this is the HTML content. So it's converted because we had the paragraph here. So we have just this paragraph. So it's converting it into HTML because we need, when we want to show this, we want to show the, like if it is bold, if there is an image, and the only way to do this is to keep track of the HTML. So back to our app. Let's remove the console logs here. Okay. And we will have here a state for again, so const title, set title, use state, okay, and the value for the title. So here we can say value equals title, and another one for our image. So const image, set image, use state. So the value for our image is null from now. So there is no image. Okay, and we need as well to have URL. This is going to be like the image is the image itself. The URL is once we upload our image, we'll get back a URL. So set URL, use state, going to be an empty string. Okay, now so we have handle publish, and this handle publish here is going to create our article, right? So before that, actually, here we have the content, we have the title. Okay, so the title here on change, what do we need? So we have an event, and we say set title to be e.target.value. So we keep track of it. So if there is no title, or there is no image, or there is no content, so what do? We just return by saying an alert title, content, and image required, right? To make sure that the user doesn't submit without these attributes. Otherwise, we'll create the article. So here, create article. To create the article now, we need to go back to our API, app API here, and add, so below this, so user route, not post routes. So the post route, we need to have here create article, which is a builder, that mutation, and the query, what it needs. So it needs to have an article like this, and the URL is going to be /articles. You can just say /post, and here say create post. And we need to forget to wrap this in parentheses, so let's wrap it and say method post request. Okay, so this is for the article creation. We forgot the body here, so say body is the, let's say here post, or you can say article actually, so body article. So this is the mutation for creating an article, and we can have now add it here. So use create post mutation. It does it automatically for us, and we'll need this back to our, let's remove this actually, just to our sign up. We don't need them from now, just remove them. So for the new article, this is where we'll have, so const equals use create post mutation. The first one is create article, so create post, and we have is loading. Okay, and when we create an article, we just say create post, and we'll create a post with title, content, and image. And the image is going to be actually the URL. So image, the URL that we get back from our API, so from the Cloudinary API. Alright, so this is how you do it, and you can have that then, for example, error, if there is no error, so if no error, you can just do something here, so alert, one second, so then parentheses, so you say error. So here if no error, can alert post created. Okay, so this is the post creation, and we can now deal with the image upload. So what is say tile? So title should be title. Line 23. Okay, should be title. So now we need to be able to upload our image, and we are going to add below this form. So I'll upload image button. So below the form select, I will select here. We need to add here div, and this div, okay, we'll say if there is no URL, which means we haven't uploaded before. Okay, so and we can add a paragraph that says please upload an image before publishing your article. And the class name is going to be just an alert info, just so that the user can publish his article. And below this div, so we'll have input of type file. So type equals file, and when we change, so on change equals handle image validation. Okay, we can accept. What do we accept? We accept image, PNG, and image JPEG. Okay, and below we'll have a button that's going to say upload. So this is for uploading the image. And this upload image, so we'll have an on click and upload image. Okay, so disabled. We are going to disable it because here, let's add a state so that we check if the image is uploading or not. So uploading img and set uploading img equals use state, and by default it's going to be false. Okay, so we can say we'll disable it if it's uploading the image. Okay, or if there is no image. Now for handling the image, so handle the image validation, we want to make sure that the image has a size. Okay, so we can say function of 1 megabyte handle image validation. It takes an event, and we say const file. So the file is going to be e target, so value actually should be e target files, the first one. And if there is a file, so if file size is greater than, so 1 million. Okay, so 1 million, let's say this first, because a megabyte is about this. So it's 104 actually, and we say 8 and 576 for 1 megabyte. Okay, so if the file size is greater than that, we can set the image to null and send return, so an alert to say file is too big, so please choose images 1 megabyte or less, right? So this is the image validation. Okay, else, so else what do we do? So we set the image to be the file. Okay, so yeah, so this is the image validation. Now for the upload image, so we can have here a function upload image. This function takes an event like this, and we'll first prevent the default. So either prevent default. So if there is no image, we just simply return, and we set the URL to just empty string. So if there is no image, okay, we just want to return. Okay, otherwise we'll first set the URL to simply be null, so we make sure that there is no URL before uploading the image. Now to upload the image, we have Cloudinary, right? So you need to log into your account so that you can have access to the Cloudinary image uploading. So I'm going to log into my account and show you how to do it. So I'm now in my Cloudinary account, and you have here the account details. So especially this one, you will need it. So for me, it's like this account detail, and to have this ability to upload, okay, images. So you come here in your settings, okay, and upload here. You come in upload, and let's see what you need to do. Yeah, so you need to create an upload preset. For example, I created one here. Okay, I can edit it or I can duplicate it. Okay, but you need to say upload preset and make sure that it's unsigned. So you can have here anything you want, but you need to have it unsigned because you will need it. Okay, so you can just say save. All right, and now this upload preset is what you will need to upload images. Okay, so in your dashboard you have your account details, especially this cloud name. So I'm going to use it in my front end. So in the upload image, after setting the URL, so you need to have const data. You create a new from data, and we'll append, so data that append, so file, okay, image, and we need as well to have data that append, so the upload preset, upload underscore preset, which should be the upload preset that you just created. Okay, so I'm just going to look at here my upload preset. So the upload here, right? So I'll just grab this one I used previously. Okay, like this. So I'll paste it here. Okay, and I'll set the uploading to true now. So set uploading. At this point, we are uploading true. Okay, and we now use the fetch. So fetch. So what do we fetch? So we fetch a URL which is https:// twice. You say api.cloudinary.com. So v1_1, and you need to have here your account, the cloud name. So I'll just copy it and paste it here. So image/upload. This is what you need to say. So only this will change, okay, for you, and you'll have an object which says method post, and body is going to be the data. And once we get the data, we can say that then, so we get some response. So we say res.json, okay, and another .zen. So this is where we'll get the data. We say data, and we set uploading image to false at this point, and we say set the URL to the data.url, and you can say console log here data to show you. Okay, that catch. So when we catch this, we say that catch and error. We as well set the uploading image to false. Okay, and then you can just say console log error from this point. Right, so let's now go back to our right, so let's see here that we can actually have images so uploaded. I'll choose this one, so upload, and we get back something, right? So we get back our some data back, and we have the URL, which is the image URL. So from now, if I just paste this, it's going to give me the actual image. You see that we have the image, right? So that's what I wanted to show you. Okay, so now the image I want it to, once it comes, like to be shown here. So let's do this in the second column. So here, okay, we can just say, so here we can just say class name, deflex, justify, content center, align items center. Okay, and now if it is uploading an image, so uploading image, we want to show a div, okay, and this div will have a class name of text center, and we will just say, so we'll have a spinner. This spinner is coming from React Bootstrap, so make sure that you have the import here at the top. Okay, spinner. So we show the spinner while it's uploading the image. So animation, we say border and role. You can say status. Okay, and we'll have a break br tag here, and below, okay, let's make it self-closing. So below we'll have a paragraph that says uploading image. So class name is going to be just py2. Okay, so if it's uploading an image, that's what we need to do. But if it's not uploading an image, so here we'll have another div, and if there is no URL, okay, and it's not uploading the image, which means this is just like when you open the page the first time, what we need to do, so we just show an image. You can say here an image, so src, I can import an image here, so import. So if our image is, let's look at one, I prefer this one, so let's say is for Ethereum, so ETH from, right, so images, and we say Ethereum dot JPEG, and you can have it here. So is the image. So this should show the first time. So when we the first time like this. Okay, now let's add some style to this image. So we'll add it here. It's going to be inline styles. So style, open the curly braces twice, and we say width 100%. We say min height 80 view height for the image, and we say object fit to be cover. Okay, so now it should just cover its own space. Okay, right, so we can as well style this, but first let's finish styling it. Now if we have this div, it means it's not uploading. Okay, now if it is uploading, so it's below here. If there is a URL, if it finishes uploading, which means there is a URL, we just have an image, and with the source src is equal, so the URL is here. Okay, this is the URL is this one. Okay, so if it is not, if we have a URL, so we give it a style again. So actually this could be just one class name, but yeah, I just didn't want to create the CSS file, but you should create a CSS file because I'm just repeating myself here. So if you upload the image, let's say this one, so let's say upload, it says uploading image, and now it should show the actual image. So that's what I wanted to have here. Alright, so our text editor is taking from literal by literal, and now let's style this the text editor. Just make it a little bit wider, a little bit bigger. So let's find it here. So this is the editor. For the editor, we define here a wrapper class name. Okay, we can just say wrapper class, give it a margin bottom of 5. Okay, this is like the wrapper of the editor. And as well, editor class name, you can give it editor class. And we have to create a CSS file, so we say new article.css, and we link this new article to our JavaScript. So we say import new article.css. Okay, so in this new article.css, we'll just define our wrapper class. So we say wrapper, let's just call it wrapper actually. Okay, so we can give it a padding of 1 rem, top border 1 pixel solid, we can say black. So padding top, let's say 50 pixels, and padding bottom again 50 pixels. And as well, editor, we need to give it some min height, let's say 250 pixels. And let's change this here. Yeah, instead of saying wrapper class, we can just say wrapper. Yeah, instead of saying editor class, we can just say editor. Right, so let's see now for the editor class. So we have the style for the editor class. Okay, so we can add as well as a styling. For example, here for the editor class, so not this one. So for example, for the editor class here, we can add a background color, for example. So background color, that's going to be not a background color actually, so we can just add some padding, so 1 rem, okay, and some here, so we have min height. Yeah, so here let's define the toolbar, and the toolbar is actually the toolbars that we'll have. So we can go here to our so go back, and we can have here the toolbar class name. So toolbar, what happened? So toolbar class name, and just say toolbar. And the toolbar, let's remove this one, we don't need it. So the toolbar here, we can just give it some border, 1 pixel solid, okay, with some CCC, going to be like a light gray. Okay, this is a toolbar. Okay, now the actual border for the can be CCC instead of like a light gray, right? So it's more in alignment with our style. Okay, so we can now go back here. We can add some style between the button, the submit button, and the upload. Let's see. So where we have submit upload here, you can just add some BR tag, and actually let's put this in a div. Just wrap it in a div, so the input and the button, okay, like another div, its own div, so it's going to be on its own row like this. So we can add some class name, and just say p, so empty for margin top of 4, okay, so to have some spacing here. You can even add it, so just say my, so top and bottom. Okay, now instead of submit here, right, we can have create article. Okay, so now let's add some logic. For example, for the upload here, so the upload should not, the create article should not be active unless we have here a URL, right? So for example, if I refresh, it should say please upload the image before publishing an article, and this create article should not be there. So we can have let's see, the button only be disabled, so it's going to be disabled if we are uploading an image, okay, or if we don't have a URL. Actually here should be URL, because that's the final goal that we are looking for. So if you don't have a URL, we should not make this available. Right, so let's see now. Yeah, at this point it's empty. So as well, like if you don't have a title or text as well, so you should not allow that. But we have our we still have here our this condition. So where it is again, where is the function? Yeah, so this one, okay, if there is no alert, so we don't publish the article, so it's fine. Now let's test it out. Let's say here, what is the blockchain? Okay, so I can add here some, let's see how we can find some lorem text. So lorem ipsum. Okay, let's just copy this actually, paste it here, and when you paste it, so make sure that there is no, like if you paste it like this, for example, make sure that you remove the space and then you get it back, put it back. So it's going to be the space coming from the text editor, not from the outside. Always format it, okay, otherwise we'll have errors. So let's select the category, say fonts, just choose a file. Okay, so for example this one, and okay, the upload is disabled. We need to upload it, enable it if there is no image actually. So here should be image. Right now we can upload it, okay, and now we have our image, right? And let's see, if we don't have a title, we should not be able to create an article, which is fine. So we need to have the title. So what is the blockchain, for example, and let's create the article. And now we can inspect to see the console. Okay, so this is the image we are getting back, but for the response from our server, we have, yeah, so we don't have here something to handle our post. So back to our app API, we have the use create post mutation. So this is what we'll use. So here we have the create post, so we'll call it create post, and we give it, no, actually we have it, right? Yeah, so else, let's say console log error. So error. So create article. So here it says what we have is a 404 response, and it says unexpected token, and it says cannot post, okay, because we don't probably have the endpoint. Let's look at the endpoint. Oh, you have it. We have it, but it's not mapped to our server. So here we can say app.use, okay, so slash posts, and we are going to use the post route. So we can say const posts with s routes equals we require, so that's slash routes, and we say post, so posts routes, okay, and we can say now we use the posts routes. Okay, so it says router.use requires let's see why post routes. So we say here module.exports equals router. Yeah, so now we are good to go. Let's try again, create article, and it says article is not defined because we have a typo. So we'll see here the typo says article is not defined. Let's see, also user article. Let's look at the blog post. Oh, it's not there. Let's look at the user. Okay, I have an idea. We can just here take this and search for it because it's a typo, and just say file. No, there's no search functionality. Let's say Control F. So it's not there. Let's look at the user routes. It's not there again. post route. So we have found it. So here's article, or I'm doing the same typo, so article. Let's try again. It says post created. Okay, so now the post is created, but we need to like when we are creating the post, we need to disable this and have like a spinner animation, for example. So here, back to our new article, we can have here if, okay, if is loading. So the is loading is coming from our hook, which is this one. So we say if it's loading, we are going to show like an animation. We return div. Okay, so that says h1 creating your article is a class name of text center. You can say here class name py4. Let's just say here change the state. Okay, so we say if not loading, so that it shows, just to see what we'll have. So it should have this creating an article, which is fine. Okay, so say creating an article like this. If it is loading, we'll show this one. If there is a success, so if is success is we can add it here. So is success, and we'll say if so is success. What do we do here? We return our div and we say h1. Okay, so article created with success. And this is going to have, of course, a class name of text center. And we are going to have here a set timeout. Okay, and if there is a set timeout, we'll show this. So article, and after 2 seconds we want to redirect to the home page. So after 2 seconds, okay, so let's just say 1.5 seconds, so 1500 milliseconds. So we use the navigate. Now the navigate is coming from React Router DOM. So import here from React Router DOM, and we say navigate, and say const navigate equals the result of, should be use navigate actually. So you say use navigate, and after 2 seconds we'll navigate to our path here. So we say navigate to the home path. Okay, so it's going to navigate for us after creating the article to the home page. So let's say here, what is the blockchain? Paste our text again. Okay, so let's just say generate some lorem ipsum. Take this. I'm going to add it as a paragraph. So what I was saying is, every time you, like, let's say paste a new content, so make sure that you remove the paragraph, the space, and then you add it again. Okay, like this, and add it again. So that's like a bug, I can say. You need to do it for the text editor to work correctly. So let's just make sure that it's set up correctly. Remove any space, so like this one. Okay, set category, say blockchain here. Choose a file. this one. We'll upload it. Let's wait for it to finish. So while it's uploading, you see that we cannot create the article, and once we have it, so we can create the article. And now, okay, we are in the home page, which is fine. Let's remove the alert. Let's remove actually this, we don't need it. So create post, you can just call the create post. Okay, just like this. Let's remove this. So create post. Okay, so this sets up our post creation. Okay, so now we need to fetch all the articles. So in the home page, let's build it in the backend first. So the backend is going to be router.get, right? So / and we don't need our auth user because we don't need any user. If you are logged out, you can always see all the articles. So we say async request response. All right, so we can say try catch. And what are we going to try? So we try to get const articles equals, say await, say here const post await block post. That's fine. So it's going to return all the articles. Say res.json with the post, and let's remove this finally. Else we just say res.status 404.json, we say e.message. Okay, so as simple as that. Now let's see in our home page. Once we have the home page, we need to fetch all the articles automatically. Let's define the endpoint here. So after this mutation, we'll create here, so get all posts equals builder dot query. It's going to be a query, and this query, what it takes is, so query, we don't need anything, we just need a URL. Takes a URL, say post/posts. Okay, so this way we create our get all posts, and here it's going to be use get all posts query. Okay, and now in our home page, that's where we are going to use it. So back to our home page .js. So here at the top, we need to say const, okay, equals use get all post query coming from our API, and we need to have the data. It's going to be all the posts. So is loading and is error. Okay, we can as well have our sidebar articles. So const sidebar articles equals, so we say post, if we have a post, okay, that slice, okay, and 0 to, let's say 0 to 4. We just take like the 4 last ones to add it to our sidebar, or we just select it as empty. And if there is an error, so if is error, what do we return? We return the div, okay, that says an error occurred. So let's just make it better like this. So h1 an error has occurred, and we'll give it a class name of text center. Okay, this is for if there is an error with the fetch. If now is loading, which means if it's fetching our data, so if is loading, we do return a div. The div has a class name of, let's say, deflex, justify content, center, and py5, and within this div we'll have our spinner. So the spinner coming from React Bootstrap, and it's going to have just an animation of border. So while it's loading, we should have our animation. Okay, so is loading is error get all posts query. Now once we get all the posts, what are we going to do? We will here have a container now. Return a container. Okay, so the container will have a div that has a class name of banner and an h1 that has, so the MERN, okay, say the MERN tech block. Okay, this is the banner. We can add a class name of banner underscore title. Okay, and below this we'll have our row, and we'll have the main article. Okay, so let's create here a component in our components. So components here, main article .js, so RFC, and this main article, so it's just going to take, so from the props you can say article, and instead of having this, it's going to be a row, and with the class name of now. So import the row from React Bootstrap. We can say here row with a class name of padding bottom 4, some padding to the bottom, and column col, okay, with MD, so medium 6, and the class name equals main article underscore image container. Okay, we'll add an image with a source, so src, and the source is going to be so coming from the article. So here we can use the structuring by just saying const title. In the title we need the image, we need the content, and we need the ID equals, so the article, and it's going to be image. This is for the left side. Now on the right side we need to have another column, so col and MD medium 6. Okay, we'll have an H2, so H2 where we'll have our title, should actually be, yeah, the title is, which is fine, and a div. Okay, now this div has to be a particular div because it's going to render an HTML, so the content is going to be an HTML. So we say dangerously set in a HTML. So we'll have it like that with the HTML as the content that substring. Okay, so it is to render like a one part, okay, like a preview of the article. So we'll take from 0 to, let's say, 200. So that's how we do it. All right, and we'll have our link container, and this link container will have, okay, pointing to, so articles, and let's say the ID. So let's have backticks here. Actually it should be like this. So add our backticks / articles / ID, and we'll have the button. The button will be variant of success, or we can just say info and say read more. So this is the main article, and we'll add it here. So we say main article, and the main article has to be self-closing, actually just this, and we'll give it an article prop, and we say articles. It should be actually posts. So let's just say articles here. I think it's better. So articles, and the last one, so articles that length -1. You can take the first one or the last one, okay, it depends. Now below this main article we'll add a column, so of MD9 with a class name of so block main d display flex, padding bottom of 4, and flex wrap, okay, to wrap it, and with a gap of 4 between the items. So this is where we'll render all the articles actually. So we can say articles.map, okay. So for each article we need to do something. So we take article in index IDX, and what do we do here? We just return here a component. So we create another component and we call it article preview.js. We use RFC for our article preview, and this article preview here is going to render the actual article log as a preview. So we go back to our React Bootstrap and we look for card. Can take I think this one, copy it, go back and paste it, and import here, import from, say, React Bootstrap. You import the card, the button, okay. So here we have the style, which is fine, we can leave it like that. The card.image, okay, so it should come from, actually, by saying article, and here the card.image, so instead of being this src, we'll say it's going to be the image. So here we say const equals article, let's say equals article, and we'll grab title, content, image, ID, and the creator. So here should be content, okay. And now the image that will show, I can here have one image a default image. If eventually we don't have an image for our article, we can just choose a placeholder. So let's say headphones. Okay, let's look at this one. So import, not here, so here, outside, import headphones from our images and say headphones JPEG. It's actually headphones, right? Headphones.jpg. Okay, so we'll show this by default. So here, let's open the curly braces and say either we will show the image or, okay, as a fallback, show headphones if the image breaks. Okay, now let's add the style for the image by saying style equals, so we say max height of 200 with an object fit of cover. Now for the cat.body, the title here will be there, so we say title, and the description, so we'll show the description. So back to our article preview, not the article preview, but the main article, we did something similar, so let's just copy it. So here, article preview, the card.text, so we'll have something similar. So like this. Okay, instead of saying 0 to 200, we can just say 100. And below that, so let's say here, can add plus just these 3 dots, and below this, okay, we'll have a button. So the button is there again. Actually, you can just say read more or just view. And this is going to be wrapped in a link container. So link container, and we say to, so actually should go to / articles and ID, so underscore ID actually. Okay, should go to the article page. Here we will show, we'll wrap the button with this link container. Okay, so we have our button. We don't need the creator actually, you can remove it. Alright, so this is what we need for this one. So back to our home. Now for each article, we'll just show an article preview with the article. That's going to be just article, and we'll add a key, going to be IDX. Okay, so we are now going to show all the articles, right? And now on the left side here, that's where we'll have another column with MD of 3 and the class name. So class name equals, you can say block sidebar with a padding py of 4. Okay, so we can have a list group. You can look at here, list group, and let's just take this one, this flush, so copy it and put it here and just import it. So from React Bootstrap, list group, Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll have here h2, and we'll say latest articles, and we'll remove this list group. Just let's remove these 3 ones. Okay, and we'll say sidebar articles. Now we'll map through the sidebar articles. Let's see the sidebar articles. Okay, so that map, and for each article, so we say idx as well. Let's wrap it in parentheses, double parentheses, and we say we'll return a sidebar article. Actually, we don't need that, so we can just return this list group. Okay, and we'll have here article dot title, and wrap it in a link container. Say here link container. And it's going to go to like this, and you say articles, right, and article dot underscore id, and of course we can add here a key of index. Okay, now back to our home page. Let's see what do we have. So it says call is not defined in the main article.js. So back to our main article.js. Oh, where it is? Okay, here. So we import the call column, and I think it's fine. What else? Main article, it says id, so line 14. Okay, 14 should be underscore id. Okay, so home.js, line 10. So here say articles. Actually, back to our home. We are having some issues, so let's inspect it. Look at the console. It says substring, something is undefined in the main article.js. So here let's say main article.js. We can just comment it out from now, because probably we are not getting the data. That's what I suppose here. That's what I suspect actually. Still not, so we can look at our backend. Let's look at the network. Let's see here. So home.js, let's comment this out from now. Okay, not this, but like this. Everything that's related to the looping through articles, we can just comment it out so that it renders. And let's now look at the response. So we are getting something. Okay, we are getting an array, and this is an array of articles, right? So with id, creator, title, the image, okay, category, and the created app, which is fine. So we are having like our state, but now we have to show it. So why it doesn't work? Let's just try with this. Okay, the main one. So okay, let's see if we have, if it is loading. Else we should have this have the MERN tech block. We don't know why. Let's look at here. So articles.map for each article. So for each article, let's just uncomment it. Instead of showing this article preview, okay, let's just show here article title. No, not like this. So we just show a paragraph. We say article just to test things out. You don't have to do it. So that title. So you see that it's showing actually the titles, right? So the issue is in the preview. So back to our article preview. So here should be actually content. So let's remove this substring from now to just see what's going on. So home.js, save. It says dangerously set it in HTML, must be in the form. Yeah, so it's here, and it's actually should be twice, so 2 underscore. I know it's right, guys, but you have to do it like that. And now it's working, right? And let's add here our substring. So from 0 to 250. Okay. So why doesn't work? Substring. So the HTML should be content.substring. Let's say content like this, substring. Optional chaining to avoid these errors, so that 250. Yeah, so that's what I thought. So we need to have optional chaining for when if you don't have it, the content is not loaded, it doesn't continue this. Okay. Now we are not actually rendering. So article preview. Yeah. Now we need to render at the same time. We need to render this, the main article, which is there. So let's uncomment it. Let's see what we have. Again, we are having this issue. So main article as well. Double underscore and optional chaining here. Okay. Right. So we are rendering the image now. We will style it. But this is like the main image, okay, and you have your articles below. So why don't we have the content actually? Seems like the content is undefined. Let's see. So look at the network again. Look at we don't have the data here. Okay, let's console log it. So console log article to see our console. Yeah, so we don't have a content. I forgot to add the content. So let's look at the blog post. Oh yeah, there is no content. It's a shame there is no content, so I forgot to add the content. Now let's just add it. The content is just so content type string. Let's make it required. true. Okay, so now we'll have a content for our other articles, our coming articles. Okay, so we have the latest articles here as well. Let's say so app.js, the home.js, and let's increment this. No. Okay, so these are the latest articles. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. So inside of that, let's wrap this our link container. Do the reverse. And see what we'll have. It doesn't work. So back to what we had. Okay, now we have our links. And yeah, so we have a structure already. Let's change this image to take the full width of its parents. So if I inspect it, I can just say width 100%. So it's going to take it right like this. So inspect. So it's a main article image container. So in the main article.js here, we can just say add a class name of main article underscore image. But we don't use that actually. Let's just use inline style. So style and say width 100%. Okay, we can give it some max height. Let's say here max height of 250 px, or just say 250 like this. So the max height will be 250, or let's say 300. Okay, like this. So, and we'll now say object fit should be just the cover to cover it, right? So this is much better, and now you have the structure for your homepage, right? So you can read the article, but we have a single article, so we don't have yet the content. Let's add it. So in our single article page, so let's just collapse everything and close all this. Look at our components, not component but the pages, and let's say show article, right? So single article page, and from here, so we need to have again for our app.js, not the app.js but the app API, we need to grab the article by its ID and show it. Okay, so that's all we need to do. So we can add a new query by saying get one post, going to be the builder query, and the query is going to be taking an ID, and the URL is going to be so like this, so articles ID. Okay, so we have this get one post and we add it here. So use get one post query, and this use get one post, we'll use it in our page, so single article page here, saying const equals use get one post query. Okay, and here we need to grab the ID. For example, right now we have, if I click read more, you see it says articles / this ID. This is the ID we need to grab, and we need to use the params coming from React Router DOM. So we can say import from React Router DOM, and it's called use params. And you can say here const ID equals, so we say use params. So that's it. And this hook, okay, is going to grab the ID for us, and from that point we can just make our query, right, using the ID. And we'll get here is loading and data, which is article. Okay, so that's what we need. And yeah, so if it is loading, you can just say if loading is loading. We can have here return. Okay, let's go to our home page to not lose time. So just take these two and paste them here, and have the is error. Import the spinner again. So let's just say here spinner. So spinner, import it from React Bootstrap. Okay, so that way we'll have like a nice animation. Now if you have the data back, we'll have it in a container. Okay, and let's not forget here to say if there is no post, no article again. We just say, actually we don't need that, we have the error. So we have the container here with a row, and within that we'll have a column. Okay, so the column, the left side will be MD. Actually we don't need the left side or right side, we can just put it like one column. So MD8, and the style, just to align it, equals margin, so 0 auto. And we'll have an image. The image is going to be src equals to article. Okay, so which is this article image, that image. So the style, you can say width of 100% with max height of 400 pixels, so 400 pixels, and object fit is going to be cover. Okay, so we have the image, and below we'll have our h1 for the article, the title. So let's use the structuring actually, or no, it's fine. Okay, so here you need to have a paragraph by saying by, so post that creator. Okay, and another paragraph, I mean not a paragraph but a div, so dangerously set in HTML, underscore HTML, so twice underscore twice, and here we just say article.content. Notice here I'm saying post.creator, so we need to do some things in the database to show the creator. Okay, so it says call and post. should be actually article, and we import here call. So an error has occurred. Let's inspect. Yeah, because we don't have the endpoint now. Let's build the endpoint. For the post routes, let's remove this. Okay, let's clean it up. Have the post routes, and the post routes is just so router. Actually, let's put it here. Router.get underscore ID. So async request response, and we need to try catch it. Okay, so what are we going to do? We are going to find the blog post, okay, by its ID. So we say here const ID equals, we can just say here ID request.params, because it's a param. And once we get the ID, so let's put it outside. So once we get the ID, we'll say const article equals, we await the blog post that find by ID, and we provide the ID. So article, don't forget to populate. Populating means just give like the user, replace the ID, the creator ID with the actual user. So populate the creator, which is an ID, with actually the user. So that's an result. We get a result. So result, and we say res.json result. Okay, and then catch. Let's just copy this and paste it here. Or we can just say not found. Say not found. Let's try again. So it should be actually posts. So here should be slash post. Yeah. Let's look at the response again. So here, back to our React. So single article here. We can say console log article to see what we have in our console. It says objects are not valid as React child. Okay, let's see here if we find it in our backend before we send it back. Let's say here console log result to see that we are actually getting some result. And let's fetch again. Okay, let's fetch again. It's not hitting the database. Oh yeah, let's say here this should be before, I think, after this one. Let's see if it's going to change it or no. No, it doesn't change it. Post /ID. So app API /post /ID. Yeah, so we're actually getting the data. Actually, look at this. We're just having here errors. Yeah, but we are getting the data, which is this one. We is the creator. Okay, the image and the title. So that's what we need to show to our user. So let's show it to our user. And back to here, single article. So let's say if there is an error, it says an error has occurred. Let's say if there is error console log. So here we can have, look at the error. What do we have as the error? It's actually not just not rendering. Let's see, doesn't render. Back here to our homepage. It's a bit more. So object are not valid as React childs. Found object with key ID if you mean to render collection of children, use an array instead. Okay. I'm getting some errors here. Let's see why. So single page is loading. Let's comment this out. Okay, so we are getting some data, but it's not actually rendering it. Yeah, so because we are trying to render the creator, but the creator is actually an object, right? So the creator has to be an object, and we just want to grab the email using the creator. So here, that email. That was the issue here. So we are rendering the title, the creator, but because we didn't have a content, it wasn't showing the content. Okay, but if we create a new one, so technology article with some lorem ipsum text. So again, copy it here, can paste it here, make sure that it's set up correctly. Choose a file, this one. So upload, got the category fonts, create the article. Okay, now the issue here is it's not fetching again, because it's just saving it in the state with the Redux persist. So we need a way of fetching again every time that we make a mutation, and this is actually easy to do. So back to our app API, we just need to add a couple of tags, and these tags are like event listeners. For example, at the top here, we'll define our tag types. So right below the base query, we'll define our tag types. I think not below. So right below here, yeah, this is the fetch base query. So here we say tag types, and we'll define two tag types. So we'll define the post and user tag type, and I'll show you. So these are, for example, when we let's say want to show an article, for example here, the routes. So when we create a post, okay, we want to say that, okay, we have changed something in the post. So we say here invalidates tags, so we invalidates the post so that it fetches again. Okay, the same for, yeah, from me it's fine. So get one post, what it does is it provides the tag. So provides tags post. It means like it has to be linked so to the post. Okay, but it doesn't change it. Now when we say invalid tags, it means it has to fetch again. For example, creating a new article, removing an article, it means we have to fetch again. Now back to our example. So new article, paste this. Okay, I think I'll have to just copy everything, so to save it in my clipboard, let's have here I don't know, iPhone. So with Cloudinary you have like 1 GB, so if you have smaller size it doesn't matter. The image, for example, this one is just 43 kilobytes. So let's create the article. Right, so let's see why it doesn't work. Okay, because we have the invalid tags, and these invalid tags every time we make a request it should invalid this tag. For example, when you make a create post mutation, it should invalid these tags. And let's see, yeah, because we forgot to have here the get all post, so provides tags. So post, we are kind of linking. What's happening is we are linking these two, right? So this invalidates the tags, which means this tag provider has to run again, right? So this one we don't need it, actually should be here. So below the query, yeah, provide tags, let's add this. And now when we make a query, so this one is going to provide the tag again, and this one is going to invalid tag. So every time this one runs, it invalidates the tags, and this one provides it again. Okay, so let's try again. So say new article. I'm going to grab here some text. Okay, just put it like that. Remove the spaces, put it back to avoid any errors, and say category, choose a file, this one, upload, and we can create the article. So let's say new article on iPhone. So create, okay, so it's not doing it again. Let's see. So our state, actually, so our state right now we don't have the post, so let's add it. Let's make sure that we are having it, but we want to as well, it should fetch the data, but we'll come back to it. Now back to our slices. So the post slice, let's see, where is the post slice? So features, post slice. So this is where we will add extra reducers. So below this initial state, say extra reducers as well, and builder. every time we are, so we say builder that add matcher. This matcher is the app API, the endpoints, so that get all posts, match fulfilled. What do we do? So we grab the state, we'll have a payload, so payload, and we need to have here return the payload. So when it returns the payload, it's going to now be our new state. So let's try again. Look at our state, Redux state, so the tree chart. Okay, so let's look at here our application. We need to remove it. Refresh. Okay, so now this is the last article we wrote, because it was kind of fixed. It was kind of fixed in the state because of the persist. So we didn't have the state for our post. Now we have it. So let's look at the Redux state. We have our post, right? Let's log in again. Login. Okay. New article. Let's say headphones. Paste. Contents, fonts. Let's take the headphones. Upload. Let's make sure we are creating the article. And as you can see, it's grabbing the last one, right? The last article, because we had first of all this event listener that's going to return the payload. Okay, once we every time we fetch back, we want to refresh the data, so with this payload. All right, so the last article is ready. Now we can, let's just change this now to be a little less smaller, so the content we are showing in the preview. So back to our article preview. Article preview here, instead of saying 215, let's just say 100. Okay, let me just say 50 characters. And yeah, so now we are good to go. Let's can add here this, let's say plus 3 dots. Okay, so now we are having our content. It says here undefined because we don't have a content, so we'll have to go back to either the post, or we can just log in as this user and yeah, delete an article. So we don't have this yet, and that's what's next. Okay, so when I click on my articles, I should be able to get all my articles. So back here in our pages. Okay, so let's see my articles. So my articles, and let's build the route. If there is a user, we'll have a route. Oh, we'll have it already. So actually we should map this. Let's see if it maps. Navigation. So it should be articles / me. Okay, so let's try again. yeah, so we have the my articles here. Okay, so back to our app API. We'll build a route. So let's see. I'm getting lost. Okay, app API. So the app API, we need to have here get all user posts, okay, which is a builder that query. So we say here query. It's going to be, now we don't need any ID. It's going to be a function with a URL. So let's let that. So post me, okay, and this is going to, so it's going to create a new route. So here router that get slash let's say me. So post me, it's going to be an async with request and response. So we'll try something. So this needs, of course, to have the auth user, because we are going to send our token, right? So we'll send our token, and if there is a user, so we'll allow the user to fetch its own data. Okay, so if there is a user, so we'll try we'll try to grab the user's data, and don't forget the user will be, so const user equals request that user. This request that user is appended, okay, with by our auth user. So, and we can say user, so user that populate. Okay, the populate is going to populate the user's article. If you look at here, the user model, every time we create a new article, so we have articles here. Okay, so the user's articles is stored there. So we can go here when we create a new post. For example, we create a new post, so we push that ID, that post ID, to the user's article. That's how it works. And now we can populate that one. It means we are going to actually replace the ID, okay, the IDs with the actual articles. So we say user that populate, so not actually article, yeah, so articles, that's then, right, we'll grab the articles. So we'll have here, use the structuring, say articles. Okay, so we just say res.json article. So I'm using here the structuring to extract the article from the response, and let's remove this catch, and we say res.status 404.json, and we say e. All right, so we have now the route for that. Okay, so post me, and let's put it here. So use get all user posts query, and back to our single article, not here, back to where my articles. So back to here, we will build it, the page. So it's going to be const, right, data as my articles. Let's say my articles, we'll just say here user articles. Okay, using it is loading and is error coming from use get all users article. So here get all user post query imported from the app API. Okay, and as before, let's go to our home.js. We'll grab the logic. So this one. Remove this one, we don't need them. Okay, and we'll just paste them. Remove this return statement and paste them here. So we have the is error and is loading, and we will now say here if, right, so if my articles, so user, I think user articles, that length, so I don't know why it doesn't. We have if is error equals triple equals 0. So we say, it says here triple equals 0, we say we return. So let's just return this. Right, so here we say you don't have articles yet, so you don't have articles yet, and we will say return. Okay, now let's see, is loading user article. So else we'll just return now. So like this, a container with a h1 my articles with the class name called text center. Okay, let's see why, because IntelliSense is not working. Spinner container. So we need to have the spinner. So import React Bootstrap and have the container. Okay, what's wrong in this file? What's wrong in this file? So my articles data, let's just comment this out. I think there is something wrong in this file. So RFC again. From React Bootstrap. I don't know, there's something wrong in this file, it doesn't work. Spinner. And I try to compile this problem. Let's see if you can refresh the server. So browser doesn't have a valid. What's wrong? npm start. Okay guys, you don't have to do this because there is an issue with my component. Don't know what's going on. So let's see. My articles again. Have no idea what's going on actually. Now it's working. No idea. Okay. So we say here again, you don't have to do it, but so data, my articles is loading, is error, because use get all get, so use get all users post query. Let's paste this. Can import here the spinner. And is loading, so should be is loading. Okay. Now you can check if, so let's put this back. If my articles that length triple equals 0, so we say return a div is a class name, so py 4 and then h2. That says you don't have articles yet, and the class name of text center. Otherwise, so we will return our container here, and h1 my articles. Here we say class name text center, we have a row. No, didn't say this. So call md9 with a class name equals, so deflex, so justify content center and flex wrap, okay, and gap of 4 as before. Okay, so let's import the row from React Bootstrap, and what we'll do here, we'll simply say, so my articles dot map, and we say for each article, so let's say article idx, and we'll have the article preview here. Okay, so with key equals, so the index, and we'll have the article equals the article. Okay, so now we should have access to our articles from our page, my articles. It says an error has occurred. Let's see why. So it says 400 post me. So let's say auto.get. Need to console log the error. not found. Says not found. We have the post routes. Let's see if you put it before this ID. What do we get? Yeah, so it was the ID. So it was matching the ID before. So put it before this ID. Okay, so it doesn't match it. Now let's see. Okay, it says you don't have articles yet. So when we create an article, I see we created articles with this user. So let's say new one. Let's just grab a paragraph. So say this one, upload. Create. Okay, new one. Let's look at my articles. So you don't, it should not say this actually. Let's see what we have in our response. So here you don't have to do it. I'm just checking what you have as the articles. Console log articles. Inspect. It doesn't seem to reach this route. So console log user. Look at the network. Let's put it, let's see where we can put this. So the OS user request that user console log. It doesn't seem to hit this one. Okay, this is the React app. So my articles is loading is error. Okay, let's console log here. My articles. Let's say here console log e. I don't think it's making the request. Let's see. Alright guys, so I had to pause the video to just save you time and look at what was wrong. And what was wrong was actually here in the process config. It was like this, the blacklist, but this won't work. So it was actually caching this reducer. So once it did the request, it just was cached. So every time you made a request, it wouldn't make that request. It wouldn't hit the database. So you need to blacklist it and make this lowercase. So it's very important so that it doesn't cache this API, the reducers. Okay, so now back to our server. Okay, you need as well here in the router post, when you create the article, once you push the article ID to the articles, you need to save the user, the new user. So make sure you add this await request that user that save. So it's saving the user with the updated articles array. Okay, so that was it. Let's remove this. And yeah, so here we are populating the articles. Okay, and then we get the articles, and so here we'll actually get the user, but we want to get the user's articles. Okay, so that's what we did. And I removed here, so let me show you. There was here user.articles. You can remove it, okay, or you can keep it. So let's keep it. You don't need to remove it. And now if I refresh the page, so I'll get my articles. Okay, if you don't get the articles yet, just create one. You can create one here. So second article, because all the previous ones they wasn't saved, that's why. So here let's paste something. Actually upload this one and put it as computers like this, and we can create this one. Right, so now we have this, and when we go to my articles, so this as well is not updating the articles once it's saved. So we need to go here in the app API and add it as a query provider. So here provide tags, we need to copy it. Let's copy it. So provide tags, copy it here, and it needs to subscribe to this one as well. So when you create a new article, it will fetch again. Okay, like this. Otherwise it gets cached. Okay, and the new article you created won't appear well once you open this page, once you reopen it again. So now we should have our articles ready. So back to my articles here. Okay, so let's actually remove these curly braces, and we need to just render them like that. So like this. Yeah, so we need to have this for the map, and I think this. Okay. Alright, so now remove the curly braces and replace them with parentheses, and now you see we are getting the articles. So what I was saying is, if I removed, let's say, the app API here, if I removed the provide tags, if I just comment it out, okay, we comment it out like this, and we create a new article. So third article, okay, and we paste something, not this actually, let's just paste something. Okay, like this, and we want to upload it. So if you create the article, it will fetch it again here in the home page. But if you go here and look at my articles, you won't see it. Okay, because we haven't subscribed to these tags. Okay, so we need to subscribe to it. So it's going to fetch. Okay, fetch it again. So yeah, so now you have your articles, and we need now to be able to do the last part, which is removing an article or editing the article. Now to be able to remove or edit the article, we need to have our app API again. So below this we can say delete article. So it's going to be a builder dot mutation. I think I'm not having it right. Even this one actually private tag should be here, yeah, inside the query like this. And below now this get all posts will have a delete post, which is a builder that mutation. Okay, and this is where we will say, so the query takes an ID, takes an ID like this, a URL, and we say this ID. Okay, and we need to have a method here that's going to be delete. Make sure that it's uppercase. Okay, so now we have our delete, and we'll add it here. So let's actually have the ID here, so as a variable ID. Okay, and we delete the post. Now let's add it here. So use delete post mutation, and now back to our post preview components. You can say article preview. So this we are going to modify to be able to remove an article. All right, so now we are going to make it take another param. So current user post, you can say. Okay, so this article, if the article preview is a current user post, we'll do something here. So in the my articles, we'll say here current user post to true, and back to the article preview. Okay, so here what we need to do is to add additional buttons if the current user. So we say here, so current user post, and we are going to add here. So we are going to add our fragment and say button group. Button group is coming from React Router Bootstrap, so make sure you add it there. And we'll have link container. Link container. This one is going to be to, okay, so it should go to let's make it a variable. So we go to articles, yeah, so we need to have the ID. So actually it's ID, let's call ID, this ID here, and we say edit, to edit the article, and we have the button, our button coming from React Bootstrap as well. Okay, and we say edit. and let's say variant, so outline primary, and we need to have the delete now. The delete, we don't need a button group, we just need a button. So we say here, we don't need a link container, so we can just say button. Okay, delete. Now this button will have an event. So we say on click, and we say handle delete. Now this handle delete, will have it as a function here. Function handle delete. It has to do something. Alright, so we have here on click handle delete, and let's give it a variant of outline danger. Let's see now. Right, so we have view, edit, and delete, and this view can be as well in the button group. So let's put it in the button group. This one, how do you put it in the button group? Yeah, so the button group has to be outside. It should wrap the view like this and go outside this current user post logic. Okay, so now it's in the button group. So you have the view, edit, and delete. The view can be changed to info. Alright, so you have view, edit, and you have delete. Now once we click this delete button, that's where we called our function. So here we say const equals use delete post mutation. The first item will be delete article, and you have the is loading, and we'll just call it so delete article, and we need to have the ID. Right, that's it. Right, so we are calling the delete article with its ID. Now if it is loading, so let's see. Right, so here we need to have some logic. We say if it is loading, is loading, we say deleting, else we just say delete. Okay, back to our post routes. So we'll define the router to delete our article. So we say router.delete, so by ID, request response, and you need to be able to you need to log in. Okay, so first of all you need to be authenticated, and you need to own the article. So we say here const ID equals rec.params, and we say try catch, so const article. So we say we await blog post, find by ID. First we find it by ID. So if the article, the creator of the article, to string, okay, make it a string. If it is equal the request that user underscore ID to that to string, we know that okay, they are the same, so we can await article that remove, and we can say rec.status 200.json, say removed successfully. You don't even need to send that, you can just say 200.send. let's add an async here. Right, so else we need to say request, so it should be res here. So here should be res that status 401 that send. So we send so JSON, you don't have the right permissions. So we catch and we say res that status 400 that send. We send e and say e that message. Let's remove this finally. Right, so that's how we deal with this delete. So okay, and one thing is to register it again. Here we say invalidate tag, right, the post, because we removed something. Let's try it out now. If we can delete this, say delete, let's inspect that console. So we are having a 404 again. So cannot get, we are not sending a get request, we are sending a delete request. We have it here, method delete. Let's see. Alright, so actually should be post slash delete. Delete. So now it's deleting, right? So deleting and delete. Okay, so we can delete an article. The last thing is to be able to remove, not remove but update an article. Okay, so for that we need to define here. So if you look at my articles, edit, so this is what we need to have. Okay, now let's build that. Actually, so in the edit article page is edit article. So it's going to be a bit similar to our create article, right, but with some differences. So we can just copy the new article.js here, copy the content, paste it here, edit article, and just make some changes. So change first here, edit article, all right, and save edit article. Okay, so now we'll have something similar to the edit article. You can add the title here. We say no inside the form. So h2 edit article. We give it a class name, text center. So it knows that we are in the edit article page. Okay, so let's see if I put it outside. It's the same. Okay, let's put it here. Alright, so now we are in the edit article page, and what can we do here is, so the title, okay, should be coming from the state, okay, our Redux state. and as well the content, so it should be fulfilled. We should have some content in the title. So we'll change things here. For example, so we need to grab the post, okay, by saying, so here first of all we say const id equals, so use params. Use params is coming from, where is it, React Router DOM. Okay, we grab the id, which is this one, okay, the id, and from that point we can say const all the post equals, we use a selector, say use selector, and we say, so state, and we find a state, so state that posts, okay, to grab the post, and below here we say const post to edit equals, we say posts that find, right? So a post and we say post that underscore id double equal id. Okay, so we have it, and now we need to have, instead of saying, so we'll have here const updating article, and this is coming from, so before that we need to have it in our app API. So this is for the post. Okay, let's add here update post. So update post, which is a builder mutation, the query is going to be id. So we need to have an id and the content, right? Because we are want to update by id, and we want to add as well the content. So here we are saying, so let's wrap it in, so let's say this id and say post, right? And like this. Now we say URL post, so let's make it a variable having backticks. ID, the method is going to be a patch, and body is going to be, yeah, so we have the post. And now we need to say as well invalid tags, right, like this, and we say post. Now back to here, we say use update post mutation. So that's it. Back to our edit article. Let's remove these ones. We say here const update article, and we need to have is loading as well. Use update post mutation. Okay, so that's it. And let's see here, edit article. So now here the function, or let's say below here the title, set title, and this is going to be, now we will replace the title to be, right, post edit that title. Okay, we don't need an image actually, let's remove it. We don't need a URL, but here We don't need to set the URL, but we can say here remove this URL. It's going to be post to edit that image, because I don't want to edit the image. Okay, so it's loading. Let's remove this create post, we don't need it. Let's remove this editor updating image. So we need the title, okay, and the URL. Now we need to convert back the content to be able to have it in our state. Okay, so let's separate this like this. So here I'll say const content data state equals, say, content state. Content state is coming from draft.js. Okay, so content state create from block array, and we say convert from HTML. It's coming from draft.js as well, so we can say here convert from HTML. Okay, so now we come from HTML, the post to edit that content. And now our editor state here, so we need to have const editor data state equals, so say editor state create with content, we say content data state. Okay, and this set editor state, so we say const editor state, set editor state. We use the state, but in this case we don't have this. Just use the state with the editor data state, so editor data state. Right, so now instead of having a handle publish, so we'll have a handle update. Okay, and now let's remove the whole content actually. Handle update. Okay, so the handle editor state can stay there because we are editing the update. We can remove this upload image logic. So let's remove it. And this handle image validation, let's remove it. So we have is loading, which is fine. Is success, need to say article updated with success, and here we need to say updating your article. And of course, so let's remove this use create post mutation, and let's remove this draft to HTML, convert to row, we don't need it. And here we can add is success, okay, now back to here. So down, this is where we will change things here. So we have the title, and okay, the title is fine, the content is fine. Handle publish, so let's say handle publish, where it is for the form. On submit we say handle update, right? Now the image upload, we can remove it, this whole thing. Okay, so this div where you have upload, we can remove it, as well as this div. Okay, here we say update article. Let's remove this uploading image img logic. And we have, so if there is no URL, we don't need that actually. Okay, So uploading image, we don't need that. Okay, don't need to disable it, and I think we are fine now. So we can edit the article, select the category, okay, and just update the article. Now let's add some space here. So let's add some class name, MB4, okay, and should be fine now. So even this we don't need it actually. So this URL and this logic, we can just have an image directly, because I didn't want to include the image upload, the image, like changing image logic. I just want to make it simple. So you have the update article here, you have the category, the editor, okay, and yeah, that's it. Let's see now if we can upload it. So that's one edited. So let's add here some more paragraph. So some paragraph coming from edited content. Upload, update. Let's see why it doesn't work. Inspect. Update article should call this handle update. So the handle update is from now it's empty. So we say here const raw content state equals, we say convert to raw. So we'll need it actually. So convert to raw, where it is, let's just add it here, convert to raw. And what do you convert to raw? Editor state to get current content. Okay, so we say const now content equals draft to HTML. So we'll need it actually. So this one, draft to HTML, and we say raw content state. Okay, so if we say if there is no title or if there is no content, okay, we will return by saying with an alert, by saying here title and content required. Okay, else, so else what do we do here? We just call the update article and we give it, so here open the curly braces, say ID. So this ID, where is the ID? Yeah, so the ID, and we say title, right, and content. Right, let's see now. So if you are updating the article, update, something happened, we don't know why. Let's see. I think it's updated it, or no, probably no. Yeah, I didn't. Inspect, say console log, let's refresh. Need to see what's going on here. Console log, let's see if it's updating. Yeah, so we have an error here. So await blog post async. We have async. Oh yeah. So where do we have a console? Let's make sure it's hitting the database. So clear npm run dev. Says patch not found. Okay, let's see why. Oh yeah, because we don't have the route. Okay, so you say route to that patch. So ID. Of course, you need to be authorized in async request res like this. So it's kind of similar to the delete. So you grab const ID, request that params, and we say try catch. So what do we try here? So we try to say const. So first of all, let's grab const here, say const, and we say title content that's going to come from request that body. Okay, and we try. So we try to find const article equals. So we say await blog post that find by ID and update. So find by ID and update. Okay, so find by ID and we update with title and content, and we say res that status 200 that send, else say res that status 400 that send again. So let's see if I send a patch request now, and it says updated with success, but is it updated? That's the issue. Let's see my articles, edit. So last one say edited, and date article, and you see here it says last one edited. Let's look at the content if you can. So my articles, edit, let's just edit here, say edited content, select the category, say blockchain, update. Okay, read more, and we have the content that is edited. Okay, so now you can go back, for example, to the database and remove the articles that don't have any content. So I'll do it, but before that, let's see. So if we are logged in, so it says page not found, but we should redirect the user to the home. So let's see here in the login. Okay, so if we can say here is success. Okay, and say if is success, navigate. We don't have the navigate, so let's remove Axios here. Let's uninstall Axios. We say npm uninstall, say Axios. So we say npm uninstall Axios, and now, so if there is a success, we can call here, so const here, we say gate equals, so use navigate, and if success we say navigate to the home page. And if it is loading, we can have here disable the button, so we say disabled equals, and we say is loading. Okay, so if the user is like, while it's the user is logging in, we can disable it. Right, so that's what we need to do here. Let's see now. Axios. Yeah, we're not using Axios anymore. Say Axios. Right. So log out, log in again. Says page not found. Okay, so here you can just have some logic, another logic here. I think this one. Say if it's success, let's say here set timeout, have a navigate after, let's say 100 milliseconds. So let's log out, try again. Again it says page not found. So the way I found it to do it, so it's like here we have a .zen, you can say .zen, and we'll watch for an error. So if there is an error, if there is no error actually, so we say if no error, which means in the request, which means it's fine. We just say navigate to the home page. So let's see, log out, log in again, and now it's in the home page. The same for the sign up page, right? So sign up page here, if it's loading, so logging, say here disable equals is loading, and after we sign up we can say .zen. So we need to look for an error. If there is no error, if no error, we just navigate. No, not this navigate. Const here navigate equals use navigate. If there is no error, we just navigate back to the home page. Okay, now we can search for here, so for errors. For example, if the user is already has already signed, is already like existing, for example here log out, log in here, try to sign up with this. Okay, we should have the error here because this user already exists. So let's see, in the sign up page we can search for here is error and error. Okay, and we can say, so just below the form, below this title, so is error, and what do we do? So we say n, we'll have a paragraph with class name of alert danger, that says error data, right? And the same, so let's just copy it back to our login page. So below this h1 as well, you can just say, so text center, and here as well text center. All right, so is error and error here. Let's remove the success in the data. You can just say is error and error. So now if you try to log in with the same user, it says email already exists. And if we create something that doesn't exist, let's say the password or the user here, login, invalid email or password. Okay, so the app is, I can say it's ready. Okay, the only thing that you can do is, for example, to go back to the database and remove articles that don't have let's say this. Okay, but yeah, so let's test if on mobile it's fine. So on mobile, right, so it's fine. And yeah, so it was a good project, and you can of course add more things to personalize it. I just showed you here the way of how things work. Okay, and you can just for example add some pagination here. Okay, you can add here categories, for example, to group articles by categories, and it just depends on what you want to do here. Alright guys, so I removed all the articles that didn't have content. So now I just have articles with content. So to do that, you can just head over your databases here. You have browse collections, and you can just look at your database. Okay, blog posts here, and just look at the ones that don't have a content and just remove them. Okay, so that's it for this project. I hope you liked it, and if that's the case, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next projects.